Thanks, Ryan. We've spent a lot of time today looking at photos and video of the completed space, but I'm going to take you a little bit back in time to during the construction phase, something I was involved in quite a bit. Obviously, we had a huge team of contractors and partners that helped throughout, and we're going to see some of their work and kind of midway through their work with this little presentation I have. So to start out, this is actually the floor we're standing in and on right now, floor 2. So you can see there's an old HVAC exhaust line. That was basically just there so the place didn't freeze. There's a little maintenance heater down on the first floor. And as you can see, things have changed quite a bit. This is it in its super raw form. As you can see, we actually kept some of this wall texture, but the floor, every aspect of it was unlevel, so we had to level out the whole thing, repair these huge holes, bad joists, I mean, you name it. This place really needed some serious work. And this wall you see back here, we actually retained most of it. That's the wall that became the mural wall that you saw earlier with all the different colors in it. So obviously we closed up this doorway, we took out that fan, as nice as it was, it had to go, and opened up this doorway, and that became the second floor. Our next picture here is just a little bit of a different angle. You can see the temporary staircase here. All of this pretty much just had to be taken down to a complete white box for us to then build it right back up. Now, this is when we're in part of the framing stage. You can see the steel studs here. You can see these 6x6 and 6x12 cedar posts and beams. Right now, we're roughing in drywall. We've still got some stud walls opened up, and we're starting to put in some of this backer board that we put that wood lath on. So this is a very raw form still. This is actually the conference room that you saw on the second floor. This is before it had all of its windows and when we're still getting all of the lighting settled, we're still getting all the drywall finishing work done. And you can see, of course, there's tools everywhere. I mean, that's always how these projects go. But this particularly, this is kind of when we're getting towards the backer board stages and really finishing out drywall, getting towards paint for this area. This is actually the kitchen all opened up. This has the bracing you'd install anytime you're putting in cabinetry behind the steel studs so you have something to screw to. And this is before anybody even thought about something like a kitchen island. This is really just kind of the raw framing stage. Here we see the window that you've probably seen in other pieces and parts of this production. This is the insulation behind the wall. And the windows we actually retained. Those are the same windows as when we purchased the building, but obviously we had to, of course, drywall, which you'll see later, this area. And this is all nicely insulated. A lot of insulation in the front there. It's actually pretty efficient. Now we're kind of in the bullpen and we're facing towards the front of the building. This area would get covered with wood lath later, and you can see that we still aren't really in our paint stages. We still haven't done our ceilings in here. There's still a lot of more minor work to go, but we're really kind of getting done with the framing and the drywall mudding in this area. As we go to here, you see the start of the mural wall. As we said, we did that in-house actually, very proud of that. And as you can see, we only have a few of the colors on the wall, so definitely more still to come. And of course, as construction proceeded, you get little nicks and scratches, patches and repairs of those colors as well. Here we see we're back to that kitchen area. You saw the framing over there earlier. This is with the cabinetry in place. And as you can see, we have no door handles on. We don't have any of the nice quartz countertops or any of the sinks in. This is all just getting spaced and leveled out. As you would imagine in a building like this, it's not very simple to get a perfectly level kitchen, but I can promise you if you throw a level on ours, it is. So now we're back to that front window we looked at earlier. And at this point, we have all of our drywall sheets hung, everything's mudded up, and we're getting ready for paint. And now we're jumping to the back of the office. This is actually the private offices in the rear. This area needed a lot less repair work, but we're working around a lot of structural steel. So it was definitely an adventure getting this layout all set up in such a way where we had the most offices while also working around things that couldn't change. As you probably see in the back, this staircase does not quite look like that anymore. That had to get removed and a new staircase built in its place. And now we're looking at the office that would one day become Ryan's office. Sometimes it gets messy. It doesn't quite look this messy in there. But again, we're working around structural steel here, and we have none of the steel stud work up yet, so there's still a lot of work to go. This is actually the same office, Ryan's office, and these are the actual walls that, of course, the drywall went onto, and this became Ryan's office and Brianna's office. So this gives you just a little bit more of an advanced step in the entire process of constructing the building. And now we're looking again in the offices. We're kind of standing in the rear editing suite at this point. My office actually is off there to the right, fun fact. So yeah, we're just kind of looking at more of the progress. And this, now, We are upstairs now, and we're looking at what would become our studio. It looks a little different here. It looks a little longer because there wasn't that rear stairwell yet. This stairwell came out, and now that had been filled in and become another part of the floor, and this all needed to get reconfigured. But if you kind of keep an eye on this pipe as you look in the studio, in our next segment, you'll see kind of where that ended up. And this is when we've actually gone through, we've whitened all the walls, we've painted them all white, I should say. And basically, this is before we have any gear shelves up at all. And as you know, we have a lot of gear. So actually, in our next segment, we're going to kick it up to Josh, who's going to give you a tour of what this space looks like, all finished.